Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you're having a good one. As you can see, we are finally tackling Wonder Festival 2025 Winter, and it's going to be a doozy. There are so many companies that we need to get through. Now, in case you missed it, we did cover one hobby last week, and that video will be linked in the description down below, but it's not required to enjoy this video. So don't stress it, go watch that whenever you have the opportunity, but for now, we're gonna focus on One Fest. Actually, that's a lie. There's a couple of things that I saw that we should talk about before we get into One Fest proper, including the Jollibee mascot is being turned into a Nendoroid. This is real. This is not a lie. This is silly. This is goofy, and somebody's probably mad about this because, like, their favorite character wasn't turned into a Nendo, but the Jollibee mascot was. I don't even know what this guy's food tastes like. I've never been to Jollibee, but I think it's kind of neat. It gives me a chuckle. I like seeing this. And on that note, might as well cover these. We have Kiryu, Ichiban, as well as Majima, all from the Yakuza Like a Dragon series. I'm not really in love with these. I think they're cute enough, and they fill that void of just wanting like chibi cute figures of these characters, but they look so young that it really throws me off. It's like they got turned into kids, as if this was like Dragon Ball Daima or something, like the way that show did it. And I just don't think it really works that well because they're taking away like all the details Sega puts into their faces and smoothing them out. I don't know. I think I'm being very nitpicky here, but I don't gotta worry about that because Kotobukiya seems to be making figures that are like right up my alley, and I'm very excited about those. But yeah, that's it for Nendos. Let's jump over to the pop-up parades. We had Bell, if it ever loads, as well as Wise, both from Zenless Zone Zero. Specifically, these are SP pop-up parades, so they're going to be a little bit bigger, like a large-size pop-up, but also a bit more money as well. And I don't know if I really agree with that. I mean, to be fair, these Zenless Zone characters do have some slightly elaborate outfits that they're wearing, like the accessories on them and whatnot, but I don't know, I feel like these both could have worked at the 8,800 yen price point. Maybe it's not too much more though. Maybe they're 9,800 yen, right? We'll wait and see. These are probably going to go for pre-order pretty damn soon. Though we also had one more pop-up parade. I believe it is this fellow right here, made by Orange Rouge Mikazuki Munachika, 10th anniversary commemoration version, a large-size pop-up parade from Token Rambu Online. Looking all dapper in this suit, very fancy stuff. But yeah, I don't really know a lot about this guy, so we're gonna jump forward to a scale figure from Good Smile Art Shanghai of Blonde, the White Rabbit version from Nikke, which frankly looks fantastic to me. I don't know how they didn't feature this one in the gallery, considering she was painted. Gallery could have used more of that, but I don't know, even compared to the Noir figure that goes alongside with this one, I just feel like Blonde looks so much more balanced in its like approach, in the colors. I really like this darker palette with the gold pattern work, and like her face is really cute. That ink streak making the heart in the air, that's so fun. And like the shading on the leggings, that just looks ace in my opinion. That looks so good. Here's a slightly higher resolution photo of the figure in case you're interested. It even has some gold fingernail paint. That looks lovely. This figure's great. I'm not sure if this one is an update. This is actually from Good Smile Company themselves. It's Yang Guifei Heroic Spirit Event Attire version. Very sporty, pretty trendy. Prop top revealing like a little bit of underboob, but I think she's wearing a bikini. Certainly looks like it. And I hope these are Converse heels, because I really like those kind of shoes. But I do feel like we've seen that in the past, so we're going to jump forward now. I guess just to some new stuff. Now, unlike every other time I've talked about One Fest, I don't like have everything memorized at this point. I've been so busy, and my apartment has been dealing with a lot of like electrical issues, a lot of outages, unfortunately, and even some surges, which have caused my electronics to kind of go haywire, almost messed up one of my monitors. It ain't great. All right, so I guess we're going to start with Wing. They had two blue archive figures, seemingly, one of Hoshino. Very tired, cute, yawning expression. Love that. Not really sure if I love this base, though. The sand around the street, I don't know, looks a little cheap to me. I think the character does carry it, though, like you're not really going to care about that. She's a cutie, for sure. And then we had Izuna with a very, like, vibrant and loud outfit. Though an interesting one, because it's like a sailor school uniform, but also, like, kimono sleeves and the skirt. I do love the kunais just attached to her leg, hanging off the chain over there. Even her gun actually has that flower pattern, which is kind of funny, like a Counter-Strike weapon or something. Very cute face, love the fang. I'm thinking this is actual like fishnet fabric material. It's stretching by her shoe, which is neat. I think that makes this one feel a little bit more higher quality. Hopefully they come up with something a little bit more elegant than this like little stand for her foot. Like just put a rock there or something, I don't know. Anything else than the little stand. I think that'd be easy enough. I don't think they have to stress about it. But yeah, I like that one quite a bit. Here is Pine from Bomber Girl, the belly dance version. I feel like while this isn't really my style, I don't love these like very thick chains that are dangling all around her. Little distracting, little busy in my opinion. The colors are nice, they're very vibrant. Very glossy too, this outfit, what little there is. Some translucencies for like the, portions around her waist. I feel like I had a point to make and then I started talking about other stuff. Oh, her face. Yeah, I feel like this face looks a lot better than the wing swimsuit version of Pine. That was like one of my biggest issues with that figure. I actually bought it and then sold it. I didn't really like it that much at the end of the day. But I do feel like this looks so much more like her. Just a better expression overall. Like the tongue sculpting, the fangs sticking out her eyes. The full package is there this time around with little to complain about. Anyway, we move on now. Two figures here with somewhat low quality in my opinion. I'll try and find some better photos for you guys. But we have Laffy 2, Sleeping on a Busy Day version from Azur Lane, as well as Magi Arts from Gushing Over Magical Girls. I'm pretty sure this is one of the good guys, right? The blue girl, but in her powered up state where she looks more like a shrine maiden. I think on the bottom, those are going to be like ice crystals. That would make sense to me. Bit of a shame you need to support her big sash with this very long rod. Maybe it would have been better to just attach it to her sleeves, but they don't seem to want to do that, at least at this point. But yeah, it looks pretty cool, Very modest for a Gushing Over Magical Girls figure. And then as far as Laffy goes, very detailed, like, bunny girl figure. Like, there's a lot going on here. 2 trays of food, and one of them is about to tilt over and spill. There might even be, like, another one down there. I'm not sure if, like, a little manju is carrying that plate. That's probably my guess, but I can't see it from the photo that I'm looking at. Her hair is so long, like, the volume is pretty impressive, and I like the strands of hair curling around her. Pretty impressive stuff. A lot of detail in her outfit, too, though I can't really see it that well from the photo. But it does seem pretty impressive. Just a little short because of her character, right? Luminous Box, who was at One Hobby, only had this one figure, I'm pretty sure, of the Cappuccino Cafe Lumiere version. So they put her in this nice, pretty dress. Colors are on the simplistic side, really just white and blue, though with like some gold accents around the ribbon and the buttons, which helps a lot. And I do like this pinstripe pattern on the inside, like the lining of the dress. Gave Tippy a little crown. That's pretty dang cute. And her hair accessory is a teacup with some bunny ears. Honestly, that's pretty dang good too. Unfortunately, did not paint the Taiga figure, one of the few I was looking forward to at this event, but no update. And then everything else we did see at One Hobby. All right, we got Freeing up next. Let's see what they brought. From Azur Lane, we have the Strasbourg Fairy of the Race Circuit version, as well as Joffrey, Blessing's First Sight. I think this one might also be a Race Queen style figure. Let me go do some research here. All right, so I found this photo, which certainly does imply Race Queen, right? Honestly, I feel like this would make for a pretty interesting figure, having her pressed up against the windshield. They wouldn't do that freeing, and that would cost so much money. But somebody out there should try. I ain't even gonna charge for that idea. Somebody just do it, and I'll applaud them. This girl doesn't even look like she's really wearing that much. I'm assuming it's like a leotard. She's got a tail and some headphones. I dig that about her for sure. Plus her legs look very sexy in this specific photo, just the posing of them. Very nice stuff. But we also have Cammy, which I did see previously from Street Fighter 6. I don't know why, like, out of all the companies coming out of Japan, making these PVC scale figures, it's Freeing tackling Street Fighter the most. That just seems so random to me, but I'll give him credit. Cammy looks great here. Seems like her outfit is rather reminiscent of what she typically wears, like in Street Fighter 2. I mean, it's her iconic look, right? And they're seemingly copying that, making some slight adjustments here and there. Gave her the bunny ears, of course. Probably will have that camo paint stuff on her legs. But if I can give Freeing some credit here, they made her shredded. Look at her arms. She is so muscular. That's great. That's like way more than I would expect from them. Even her legs look a little toned, but it's the arms that really stand out. I don't think Chun-Li had anything like that, or at least not to that same degree. So good on you, Freeing. Even if I'm not like super interested in this, I just want Max Factory to make a figure of her. I think they're doing a pretty good job. Alright, so let's talk about KADOKAWA next. Let's see what they had on offer. Here's a figure of Hoshino Ai, the exhibition version. Not an outfit I'm familiar with, but it certainly fits her well. Like the colors, just the design of it, really does feel like something she would wear. Plus, her face looks fairly accurate. That's really all you could ask for from like an Ai figure at this stage when they're not trying to do anything too like extravagant, right? We have this Holo Bunny version, which I quite like, if only really for the art style. I just like her face here. Plus the fact that she's chewing on the bunny ears is pretty good. Not something you would typically get with a bunny girl figure. We have this Rem combat outfit version that gave her a katana. Liking the pattern work on this kimono, just because they actually like sculpted the flowers onto them. Colors are, again, very fitting for Rem as well. The palette is pretty refreshing. I do like looking at this figure. I mean, they throw like any idea they have at Rem, so it's not like this is weird or anything at this stage. Wouldn't mind seeing some better photos of that one, frankly. We have Misaka Mikoto Furisode version, which is essentially a kimono figure, but the sleeves are longer. Like, that's the distinction. I think this one looks all right. I feel like I've seen better faces on other Mikoto figures. And the electricity looks fine. I think the portion on the bottom could look a little bit better, but I guess I appreciate that it's there at all, just to make this a little bit more exciting for a kimono figure. We definitely saw this one last time in the One Hobby Gallery, and here's a Liliel figure from 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. Doesn't really do anything to stand out from the others, in my opinion. Looks pretty standard. We have a 3 sets of figures, Kureha, Flare, and Setsuna, from redo of a healer. Though this photo is very blurry, so I'll give you a better shot of this one. Wouldn't be surprised, and honestly at this point I am expecting them to sell these individually, just based around like the design of the base itself. It clearly looks like there's 3 different pieces here and you just put them together, which is honestly the better way to do it in case you don't want all 3 of these characters. Scrolling down, holy shit, they actually like sculpted this figure, the Sonico Megaman version. I swear they announced this like 3 years ago, but at the very least, the project isn't dead. This figure's alive. And I guess at this point, that's all you could really ask, though it does feel like this is fairly early in production. And Idola Avorn from the Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World is seemingly getting a figure. A lot of midriff on this one, but we're gonna move on. Here is Magia Sulphur from Gushing Over Magical Girls. I do like her smugness. Even putting her in like an actual like battle stance, kind of great. This character has like crazy fist weapons, which I don't know if any company is going to commit to, but for like a simpler figure of the character, feels like they're hitting the notes that they need to. I think that one looks all right. Anastasia, this is not updated, unfortunately, but she does look rather pretty, so I hope they make some progress on that one soon. Seems like Moepop, the website that we're using right now, which also will be linked in the description, forgot to fill out this one, but Aqua, Darkness, I think Megaman, and maybe Union, they're all getting negligee versions. Not really sure about the scaling on these, just because they've been experimenting a little bit with these characters. Wouldn't be surprised if they're 1/10 scales, which would be a bit of a bummer. Also, if you ask me, this doesn't look like something you would sleep in at all, in my opinion. Looks like a maid outfit, but she put on some like paw pads for her feet. Everything else, I think, will be announcements, but a lot of these I've definitely seen before. These are definitely new. Swimsuit versions for Leopard, as well as Magia Bizer. Honestly, should have saw that coming. KADOKAWA just seems to love these characters right now. They're making a lot for that series. Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about Phat Company next. They had a lot, from what I can tell. This page looks huge, which is pretty surprising, because they didn't put most of it on the One Hobby page. Like, why weren't these two there? There's Chisato as well as Takina, just wearing some, like, sweatshirts with the flower from the series, the Licorice Radiata, the Spider Lily, which is featured in like so much anime. These are very simplistic figures. I like them conceptually. I feel like Takina's looks very cheap though, like they really rushed her hair. This could look so much better in my opinion. Chisato's kind of dodges that just because of her hairstyle, but the lengthier hairstyle just kind of looks like crap in my opinion. Not to dog this one too much, but I do like the idea. I just hope they look better when they work on them for a little bit longer. Shimikaze Clumsy Moon Rabbit from Azure Lane. This girl's about to faceplant at this point. Food's gonna go everywhere. Very chaotic little figure. Manju just carrying this massive mallet. I'm assuming to like, you know, mash the mochi because of the whole rabbit moon idea going on here. Love her hair, these braided hoops. I feel like I always like this hairstyle, and the huge bells are a nice touch. Cute face, very flustered. This one just has some good energy behind it. Definitely like it. From Gecco and Idolmaster, we have Shinasawa Hiro, where she's chilling at home. I think there's another figure of her in this gallery. This one's very chill. It's nice. The vibes are good. We got Sophia F. Shearing cheer version from Bunny Soup Planning. Not really surprised to see her, though. This one does look pretty good. Slight futuristic elements to the cheerleader design. And these pom-poms have this, like, metallic paint that really make them shine. I don't know why, that's very eye-catching. The Doctor from Flower Imitation by artist Nikke. She looks pretty cool. Going for a very light palette here. I don't want to say muted. Most of it is a light blue, which I do quite like. And then there's like little bursts of yellow and red for that contrast. Holy shelf hog, look at the wingspan on Melusine here. This one's ridiculous. Now, we've seen this in the past, but like, only now is it registering to me like how big this figure is going to be. So it's pretty ambitious. She also needs like 4 or 5 different support points to keep these wings up, and the weapons, which I guess I'm not surprised by, but it also does look a little cluttered now, which kind of sucks. I do wish I could see her face a little bit better, and the body too. Like, that looks great from afar, but this photo's not the best, so I'll show that to you guys. But I'll do a little bit of research on my own later. We got Hoko Tarume as well as Transcend. This girl's smug aura is so easily winning me over. Plus this outfit too. I think her design is killer. I definitely want to see more of that one. Next up, oh, it's actually Komuro from Setokai, the best character in that manga. Now, compared to the arts, and I'm not gonna show you that, it does seem like they actually put underwear on her, and for some reason, made her very perky. That definitely wasn't there in the art. Plus, they changed her expression too. A lot of differences for some reason, despite like the simplicity of just following that art. Though the first change they kind of had to do, considering this isn't supposed to be a plus 18 figure. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a figure of Komuro just wearing her school uniform. I feel like that would be a pretty cute figure, but we're not going to get that. I feel like the fate of this character is to only get figures like this. And it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I don't really care that much. Anyway, moving on, we have Mine-chan from Arms Note. This girl looks pretty sick. The face mask, the jacket over the maid outfit, the 4 layers to the maid outfit too looks really good to me, like the sculpting. And there's a lot of like equipment that I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it looks cool how it's wired and plugged in. I don't know, that just looks good to me. Plus these studs on her boots, pretty killer. She's a baddie. And then I think the last prototype we had was this Kanon girl wearing this cow bikini / cowgirl outfit. So it's just the best of both worlds. Her pants aren't even around her waist, or maybe I should call them chaps because of like the holes here. Think that makes more sense. Look at the way though they sculpted her stomach. That's erotic as hell, like holy moly. That's some good sculpt work. But yeah, Phat Company also had a bunch of announcements at this event, like just what they're working on. A new Nagato figure from Azure Lane. This dress, like it seems so innocent at first, and then you look at it for a little longer, and it's like, man, they're being pretty risky here. We also had Rosalinde from Unicorn Overlord, which is pretty exciting. She's like one of the best characters, though I don't really know what they're going to do in terms of like sculpting. Very curious. We have Shiroko from Blue Archive, fan favorite. This one's probably going to be pretty cute. We have a Hiyori figure, swimsuit version from Blue Archive. This art is making her legs look so thick. Does she have like a bit of a tummy as well? Like a little pudge? I would like that if she did. Next up, oh, I forgot about these. Mahiro and Mihari are getting these like gal figures from Onimai, just like the fashion and like just the overabundance of accessories. Honestly, I don't even really trust Phat Company to do these figures that well, but the concept is great. for both of them, extremely cute figures and designs, so I hope them the best. But we're gonna move on. We have Durandal as well as Dansu Flame from Uma Musume, as well as Noah and Eve, both designed by Rurudo. We had a figure of Kanzari-chan, another OC, as well as the Shion Blankness Cow Bikini version, which I guess is just in style nowadays. And last up for Phat Company was another Magi Arts figure, though this time her powered up state, which I don't think any other company is doing, so good on them for doing that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take a break just because I'm worried about losing power and whatnot, losing all this progress. I'll come back a little bit later and we'll continue. All right, that was a good break, but let's continue. We're gonna talk about Spiritale next. And first up, very excited that we finally have the prototypes for Chisato and Takina, the eye catch versions, where they're wearing these grunge punk rock outfits. Appeared in the show for like 5 seconds, that's why they're called the eye catch versions, but I still feel like these outfits for them make these figures so exciting. I think so many people are going to buy these as long as they nail them, and so far the prototypes are very promising. It just took a while to finally get here. So hopefully by like the summer, we'll see these figures painted, but sometimes Spiritale is very slow. We also have Moe from Blue Archive, looking pretty much near identical to the art that this figure is based on. So again, fantastic sculpt so far. I don't know what it takes to satiate this girl and her lust, this drooly expression. I've always liked that about her design. Plus you get these grenades on the bottom of the base, which is neat. Usually Spiritale does a good job with their bases, adds some kind of like set dressing or places the characters in a scenario, which is why it's a little surprising that Chisato and Takina have nothing like that, though I don't think that's really necessary. Just, again, you know, a little surprising because they usually do a lot with the bases. Though, here's another one where they're not really doing anything. Shinosawa Hiro makes a return. This is the scene version, where she's just like so tired after exercising, which I think makes this one pretty charming. She's so out of it, very weary, sweating a little bit. Clearly, this is not her most glamorous or prettiest state, but that's kind of why I like that one. We also have a new Bridget figure. In fact, I think there's 2 figures of Bridget from Guilty Gear XX, the older design for Bridget Wright at One Fest. And honestly, I think I like the other one more, though this one is way more dynamic. Even Roger makes an appearance on this one, plus Bridget is playing with the yo-yo, so that's fun. I just don't really like how they're lifting Bridget in the air with these stands, or the acrylic rods. Looks a little too tacked on, in my opinion. I really wish they just adjusted these clouds, the smoky trails, to have that be what supports Bridget into the air. But they didn't want to do that. Maybe it would just block too much of the front of the figure, I'm not really sure, but I don't love the execution right now. Anyway, we have their new Hatsune Miku figure up next. This is a Sakura Miku, the Japanese kimono version, and I think she looks like a darling here. This one is precious. The art the figure is based on is also extremely cute, and again, they get really close to replicating that art. Nothing is really off here. Maybe like the shape of her face is slightly less round, but even so, pretty damn close, and I love it. But really, the outfit is the star of the show here. This like shorter kimono with the floral pattern on it. Very frilly as well. Even the socks, the Mary Janes, would you call those shoes Mary Janes? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong there, but they're very cute as well. I just love this outfit, love the colors. This one's gonna be amazing when they finally finish it, and I think a lot of people are going to go for it. This is still not painted. Why is this taking so long? The whole second season aired and finished, and this is still not done. That's such a shame. Froppy as well still has not seen an update, which again, a little sad to see. This one's pretty damn dynamic. I think she looks awesome here. Probably her best figure in terms of composition. Miruko, no update, but just the announcement once again. Pretty sure Kasumi here from Blue Archive is new. That is a massively oversized coat. Just realized too that she has a tail. And then there was this girl who's getting a figure. I don't know her source material. Might be a VTuber or like an OC. Pimaru-sama? Hopefully that's how you say it. Her design's great, very colorful. Just love this outfit. Even the bloomers, A+ for that. We also had a figure for Shigure Yui, the 5th anniversary outfit version. Just the silhouettes, but you can get an idea of what this will look like. Pretty cool they continue to make figures for her, because she's great. From Dresta, which I actually don't know what that is in terms of like Taito figures. Need to do some research. We have a new Liliel figure from 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. This one's actually doing something pretty different with this like explosion on the bottom with like damage values, as if this was like a JRPG or something and you just cast a spell. Genuinely like this concept. And then we had Nokiel from the same series, which we don't really see too many characters for. It's always Liliel, and while her base isn't as fun or creative, it certainly looks pretty impressive with all of these crystals jutting out of the ground. So that one's pretty neat too. Design COCO is making one of my favorite figures I've seen in quite a while. Also, this one, which we'll get to, I think is going to be a stunner. First up is the life-size Hosho Marine. You can't buy it, but there is a 1/7 scale, which you can, and it looks lovely. But this Jiangshi Miku is so goddamn adorable, and I'm honestly surprised that a lot of people like it. I thought I was weird getting into like the Jiangshi thing, but this has so much like hype behind it. Like even on MFC, there's so many people who wishlist this one, and that kind of warms my heart. Man, she is precious. I love how pouty she is. That cheek is so puffy because she's just blowing her cheeks so much. But even the stance, the black nail paint, the color palette overall, plus it doesn't seem like it's going to take up a lot of space. Frankly, it doesn't even seem like this is going to be a very expensive figure at all. I'm going to be sad when it is. But yeah, I adore this one. Even like the nails in the bun hair, I love that detail. And her hair is so cute too. That style, fantastic. Surprisingly though, we're getting more Jiangshi figures. These aren't my style, just I don't know why, not really speaking to me, but I can appreciate that Design COCO is so cultured. I might have some slightly better photos of them pulled up somewhere. This is the Ami Hobby News website. Yeah, these should be a little bit clearer. I don't know if they have names. I don't think it said. I think it just said the artist. But they look cute. I do like them, but I don't think this would be something I'd go for. Their hair looks great though. I love the sculpting of their hair. I think they did a good job with that. And the outfits too, just like how everything's draping down. Pretty good stuff. Let's go back though so I can, catch the names of everything we're talking about. We have a new Elena figure, another at-home chill vibes type of figure, though this one's got a little cat playing with a butterfly. So it's just mad cute for that alone. Pretty similar conceptually to Spiritale's figure, except this one is very wholesome, where that one was a little lewd. So whatever's your preference, you go for it. And then we have a new Rem figure, the Aquarius version. Her outfit that she's wearing is making me think of like ancient Rome or like a goddess from that time. I don't know. For some reason, that's where my brain is going. There's a lot of gold accents on this figure because otherwise the palette, just a simple white, though they are shading the dress pretty well. Like it doesn't look like a flat white. So I appreciate that. But the star is clearly this vase or vase that's spilling a bunch of water, the stream going beneath her acting as the base, which is pretty interesting. All these stars spilling out as well, rather pretty. And just like the design of this vase, it looks like the galaxy is inside it, which is pretty neat. So, Frieren and Himmel are getting figures from Design COCO, specifically based off of this art, which one is lovely. Two, kind of surprising that this would be Himmel's first figure, like scale figure, pretty sure that's the case. I don't think people are ready for how pretty this could potentially be. Like giving Frieren these massive twin tails, so her hair sculpt is going to be so voluminous compared to like any other figure of her, wearing this very like thin, fine dress, the blue flower crown in her hair. There's a bunch of flowers placed in front of her as well. I'm assuming you'll get that like stained glass look behind both figures. That's up in the air, but that's my assumption. I'm just gonna believe in them to go like the extra mile because they really, really should. And then I think there were a few more announcements, a 1/4 scale figure of Viper, as well as a scale figure of Sakurajima Mai, assumingly wearing this outfit because they went with this art specifically, but who could say for sure? A lot of companies are making 1/4 scale Nikke figures. Not a bad idea, but it's kind of surprising how many are doing that. But in my humble opinion, I feel like they made a great choice in terms of the character they're going with. Alright, so next up we're going to talk about QuesQ. Going to do this one a little bit differently because the quality here is very low res, but there's a lot. So I'm going to read off like every single one of them and then jump over to the Ami Hobby News site and look at the better resolution photos there. So only focusing on the new stuff, we have the Mars District 13 medium close combat type Maid Mary. We have the Bad Bunny by Mataro. There is the Shinkan Shibuna by artist Dish. think I'm in love with this one. This looks so much better than the prototype, and the prototype looked amazing. I think that one has to go back on the wish list. From Zettai Junpaku Maho Shoujo is Suzahara Misa, maid swimsuit style, as well as Kuramoto Erika, maid swimsuit style as well. We also have a figure of Sylphie, the changing clothes mode. Honestly, I thought this one already went up for pre-order, but I could be totally wrong. We have a 1/6 scale figure of Mary Rose, the Twinkle Rose version from Dead or Alive. She looks insanely cute here. I'm not going to make a claim that this is her best figure, but I think that one's going to look fantastic. A new figure of Fern. I'll hold judgment on that one till the next gallery, but I think she looks great. We have the Aura figure, which we've seen a few times unpainted. The Lum Magician Bunny Girl style, very cute concept. Face looks a little off to me, I'm not really sure what it is. The new Onimai Mahito figure, the Bunny Girl style, that base is fantastic, a perfect fit for Mahito. A figure of Yamakaze Kai Ni from Kantai Collection, keeping the series alive, you love to see it. From Tsukahime is a new figure of Accrued on this lovely crescent moon. We have a figure of Pretender Oberon, Heroic Spirit Expo. Looks very different from like every other figure I've seen of this guy, so that one's kind of throwing me off, but the detail here looks fantastic. A new figure of Celine from Devilman, that's very unexpected. Also looks immaculate. I need to see this one up close. We have Saragaki Alba from Dramatical Murder, as well as Akira from Togainu no Chi. But yeah, a slew of other announcements. Helm from Nikke, a Kirino figure swimsuit version from Blue Archive, the Yumiya figure swimsuit version. Of course, not surprised to see her. We get it. She's attractive. I like her, alright? We have a wedding style figure for Rizal and Stout. Genuinely surprised it took this long, but we know it's going to be a good one because QuesQ is doing it. A new Yosuga no Sora figure, Sora changing clothes mode. That makes a lot of sense, honestly. Okay. A new OC figure of Thea, looking very sexy. We have a new Yana figure. This outfit I'm not familiar with. I'm assuming she's leveled up or ascended at this point in the game. Honestly, I think I like her original look more, but that's just my opinion. This will probably slap. You can't really go wrong with Yana, but we also have a new figure of Berserker Ultria Pendragon, the first Ascension version. Nice sporty outfit here. A figure of Ibuki Doji. This clearly has to be Wrights' art style, just looks like that to me. From Fate Grand Order, some more Right to Girls. We have the Minamoto no Raiko Bunny Girl style, as well as Murasaki Shikibu. I know not everybody is into their art style, but I do want to see how these turn out. We have a figure of Sakuya, specifically the Toho Luna Nights version. This is an amazing game, by the way. I fucking love this game. Let me just endorse this. You should go play Toho Luna Nights if you like Metroidvania or even like the slightest interest in Toho. This game is fantastic, so fun. I love it. I'm pretty sure this art style, correct me if I'm wrong, is the No Game No Life artist. I think clearly that's what it looks like. Could be totally wrong, but her colorful hair and the design of her eyes, that just feels very reminiscent of No Game No Life. And then next up, this one actually blew my fucking mind. Getting new figures of Marissa and Yukari in the Tohovania art style. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna go for Yukari, because I'm absolutely gonna buy the alter version of her, as well as Marissa, but I just fucking love how Marissa looks in this game. She looks so badass. This is a 100% purchase for me. But yeah, this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite announcement from One Fest specifically. Not the other events, but this one's crazy to me. And then another Unicorn Overlord figure of Virginia, 1/7 scale. That's honestly pretty cool to see. From what little I've seen of her in the game, I thought she was cool. But yeah, I think these two are not new. Licorice Recoil figures, the training wear. Taken so long on these, as well as a figure of Kitagawa Marin. No idea what they're going for, because again, just taking their sweet ass time. But yeah, let's go through the gallery now. Can't spend too much time here. This video is going to be too long already, but I want to just show you guys some higher quality shots of most of these figures, if not all of them. You know, I'm going to try my best. But I think the Bad Bunny is up next. She looks pretty damn cool. I do love this style for a bunny figure. Those shoes, to die for. She's smoking too. Don't recommend, but it does make her look kind of cool. Can't lie. Next up is the Lum Magician Bunny Girl or whatever. I don't like this one. I feel like QuesQ made such a cute lump figure with the school uniform version, and I feel like they're not really capturing that same, like, style, that same magic, no pun, that they did previously. Just doesn't really look that good to me right now, though I do love the stars and her name bursting out of the magician's hat. That's really fun, but I don't know. Here's the Maid Mary figure, genuinely great looking figure. The paint apps are exquisite, the glossy sleeves, the gradation on her hair, the shading of the outfit. It's top-notch stuff, in my opinion. This figure, where did this come from? This looks mind-blowingly good. Like, usually I'm not for this slightly more realistic art style, but man, they are nailing it here. She looks stunning. Conceptually, such a standout too. The pose, holding the skull, the wingspan, so graceful, but also just like so goddamn tall. Like, look how tall this figure is. I don't know what her scale is, but this looks like a massive figure, like 500 millimeters or something, just because of those wings. So you better find a good spot for her. Yeah, no doubt that this is going to be like one of the best figures of the year whenever this comes out, right? It's like jaw-droppingly good. Here's HANEKAWA again. You know, haven't really seen too much progress, but the lanterns, they've changed a little bit. Show you that they'll probably light up, right? I think that's what they're going for. But yeah, let's keep going. Show off everything else. Don't have all day, unfortunately. This one, Shinkan Shibuna. This is like the hottest figure I've seen, like, ever. I am like in love with this one. Is their skin actually glittery? That's what it looks like in these photos. I'm wondering if that's like actually what they're going for. I don't know. Her eyes are like piercing my heart. I love this contrast of like her skin complexion and her darker hair with like all of this gold. It's so effective. It looks beautiful, the paints on this figure. Plus, I just really like the whole Anubis theming of her design, and her hair gradation is gold. I feel like I literally never see that. Certainly fits for a character of royalty like this girl, but yeah, I don't think I can recall any other figure that does that. So pretty damn good. Yeah, let's keep going. This guy's making a mess with his popsicle. Should probably clean that up when he gets the opportunity. This Onimai Mahito figure, I think is kind of perfect. Like, we don't have that many figures of Mahito. I wasn't, like, that impressed with the Kotobukiya one either. And Phat Company is cooking a pretty dang good one as well, though only just, like, announcing it. But looks just like Mahito. You got, like, that base down there that kind of represents the show, that cute rabbit plushie down there. And the bunny suit is kind of in character too, because like the ending song, I'm pretty sure Mahito is wearing a bunny suit in it. Mary Rose from Dead or Alive, I'm pretty sure a different artist is working on this design. I don't know their name, it didn't say on the other page. It might be Fubuki, actually. Pretty sure this says like illustrator Fubuki. Yeah, she looks really cute. I don't know why they don't make other characters really from Dead or Alive. I know Mary Rose is very popular, but it does surprise me that we keep seeing her and nobody else. Oberon from Fate Grand Order. I know there's like different costumes and just versions of characters. This one, you know, uneducated, don't know a lot about him, looks so different from all the other ones. Doesn't even really look like him to me. I genuinely would not have known this was him if the other page didn't tell me. Though, again, very impressed with, like, this outfit. Those vials and belts and buckles and pouches, his staff, that, like, mechanical backpack, whatever he's wearing. Maybe that's for the wings, because the wings are also mechanical. This does have, like, a bit of a steampunk aesthetic to it, a little bit. Wondering if that's the case. Looks amazing, but again, to me, just doesn't look like him. Sure it does to you, though, if you follow Fate Grand Order. Here's Fern again. This is like Battle Stance Fern. If you've seen the show, you probably can guess what they're referencing here. I do kind of miss, though, that they took away her coat. No, it's not supposed to be there, but it does feel like something's missing to me. I don't know why. I just kind of wish it was still here on the figure, but I totally get it. It's not like a fault or anything. But yeah, she means business, and she certainly feels like she means business. And I do like this approach, because I feel like most Fern figures are just going to make her look happy, or cute, because she typically does, or pouty, right? But this is going so much further in the other direction. The only thing that would make this better is if they did more with the base, or added some like magical elements like circling her or something, maybe like some indication that she's about to cast a spell. That would be pretty cool. But it does seem relatively simple, though again, early in production, and we don't know the full story just yet. I think that might be it though, besides the Konkole figure. I feel like I spent quite a while on QuesQ because of the way I did this, so I'm probably not going to do this for the rest of the companies. But yeah, let's move on. Alright, let's do another banger company next. Let's talk about Amakuni. So first up, we have Pine and Prune from Bomber Girl, the succubus cheerleader versions. I might be the only person who really cares about these at this point. Not really sure if I'm like committed to buying them or anything, I just like Bomber Girl, and I've been following these for a very long time. Very glossy outfits, even their hair kind of looks like it has a little bit of gloss to it, but I don't mind that. You know, the mattes of their skin, I think, is enough contrast with everything else being very glossy. Never realized that Pine's tail was going to be like this light blue. Well, it grades from darker blue to light blue, but usually her tail is white. Plus there's no sparkle, which is kind of interesting. Usually there's like a little fire sparkle on the bottom of it, but not here, which is curious. Never realized that. And I think Pine is like mid-spin or something. Like the gravity in the front sure is on display because she's like bouncing all over the place and showing off her butt. Very suggestive figure, but I like them. I don't know what to tell you. I like these too. We also have a lovely figure of Nonami, fan favorite, very pretty character, simple swimsuit. Comes with an inflatable ring though, just to add a little bit of value to this, because it's likely gonna cost around like 20,000 yen minimum. Not even really coming with a sandy base, so they're keeping it very simplistic. We have a figure of Kokona from Blue Archive as well. Pretty cute. Not exactly sure what she's wearing. Like, this outfit's very strange to me. I can't really discern it without the color. And I do like her fluffy ears. But yeah, we also had the Folkwang Moist Rabbit, interesting name, from Goddess of Victory Nikke, serving up some drinks in both hands. Very busty bunny, rather voluptuous in most aspects. We also have a figure of Mast, a pirate's heart. This one's definitely to my liking, really because she just looks like Marine, especially when she's wearing like her normal outfit looks just like her, but I don't have a problem with that. I'm down with it. Though I don't know how much I like her bird companion, always looks so geeked out, but it does kind of add like a sense of humor to the figure and just like her character. So I guess at the end of the day, it's kind of fun. And then there's a little crab, like hanging out by her feet. I remember in the original illustration, there was like this bucket or like barrel that was glowing blue. Kind of a shame that's not here. I think that would have added a lot of nice color to the rest of the figure. This girl, Etra, is a VTuber, which I think this might be like the first VTuber Amakuni figure. Maybe that's wrong, you guys fill me in, but that does feel like a pretty big accomplishment for her because, you know, Amakuni seems like a company, you know, working exclusively only with Ami. Little hard to get like in negotiations with. So good for her. Figure looks great. We had a figure of Bridget. Okay, the old Bridget design rears its head once again. The reason I really like this one is because I'm pretty sure it's sculpted by Grizzly Panda. And if you know, you know. Like, one of the best sculptors in the biz, been around for a very long time. I love their work. I think that's something that people don't appreciate enough, and something that I probably should talk about more is like the actual sculptors working on the figure, because that's like a huge part of why some figures turn out as good as they do. But comparatively to the Spiritale figure, this is much simpler in composition. You're not getting a fancy base. Roger isn't anywhere to be seen, and the real draw here is just that, like, you know, the yo-yo has snagged onto Bridget's clothing and it's lifting it up a little bit so you can see their butt. Not really from this angle, but from another viewing point, you absolutely would. So it's way less ambitious, and frankly, knowing like the pricing of Amakuni compared to Spiritale, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like exactly the same, which doesn't really make sense. This should cost less, but I also just think that this figure of Bridget will likely look prettier, just like a better face and like better hair, body sculpt. I think that will be handled better on this figure. So really, it's just like what you prefer. We have this figure of Baoban Sith, Bao Bao from Fate Grand Order. I did actually look up some additional photos of this one ahead of time just because I really love her look. Like, stylistically, very cute to me. Really stands out just among the sea of other Fate Grand Order figures. The drill hair, kind of to die for. The boots, they're so long. Also kind of lacy too, up here where the boots begin. Palette-wise, primarily red and white. Love that combo. A little bit of gold accents on the belt, and I think around her collar as well. Pretty much love everything about this one. And I might pick it up in the future. But she will probably also cost way too much money for that to be an impulse buy. And we had Mitsuru from Persona 3 Reload. Nice that they're already working on this one. Just, you know, sometimes Amakuni is very slow. I think she's just sitting on like some rock pillar, which works. Wasn't what I expected, but definitely works. Has her weapon, of course, the rapier. You gotta include that. Honestly, I guess you don't, but I'm glad that it's here. But yeah, you know, it just has that like cool beauty to it. Nice flow of her hair, nice volume, and there does seem to be like a good amount of individually sculpted strands of hair, just so it doesn't look like one blob of plastic. Very pretty stuff. That was like the last thing down here. It's a 12 of 12. Let's keep going though. There might be some extra stuff. We had this Shino Reverse Bunny version, which, I don't know, this doesn't really look like an Amakuni figure to me. And then last up was surprisingly another Jiangshi. I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, so many companies are doing this. We have like 4 in this video already, as well as Shenko from Kotobukiya from like 2 weeks ago. But this is the Dangerous Jiangshi, tentative name, and honestly, I do love how she looks. A little bit of like Gyaru elements to her, the very long nails. A little bit more suggestive around the chest because you're just showing like the bra or bikini, depending on like how her outfit works, hard to say. Do love this black and pink color palette though. I think this one will be right up my alley when they finish it, and I just hope it's not that much money. We got Hobby Max Japan. They're showing off their Radio Eva Part 3 line. I think this is the first time we're ever seeing Nagisa, or Kaworu. Don't think he's been painted in the past, so this is our first update on him. And I'm gonna assume he's gonna go up for pre-order pretty damn soon, like within the month or 2. Neon Max is actually making an Idolmaster figure of Hanami Ume. I don't think we've seen Idolmaster figures from this company yet. So that's pretty neat, very vibrant, very cheery. Sundrops, never heard of that company before. Seems like they're making some cute little figures. We have Noir from Starry Sky Rail Raid and Shiro's Journey. 1/7 scale, cute little cat girl. I think there's also like 2 more in production though, not of cat girls, but characters from the same series, Neri as well as Karha. Karha? That's a strange name. We have another Komaru figure. Apparently this one's a 1/4 scale. I had no idea, but considering how short this girl is, this figure's probably gonna look like a 1/6 scale instead. But yeah, I think this one's actually turning out a lot better than the Phat Company one. I actually see the character a little bit more clearly in the sculpt, like her face is a little bit more on point, and it doesn't seem like they're deviating too far from the arts that this figure is based on. Though I don't really know what like this fluffy stuff around her waist is. Maybe they're censoring something. I don't think they are. Pretty sure that Arts doesn't have anything like that. But again, Komaru and suggestive style figures kind of go hand in hand, I guess. Anygift has a figure of the Naked King. Love those Gilgamesh hands in the back. And my god, does her hair look excellent. That drill hair is just perfect. Her dress is kind of curious though. I don't really get what's going on. It kind of looks like it's burnt, but the edges are gold. Unless like this photo I'm looking at just isn't really giving me the whole picture, but it definitely has me a little curious as to what is going on with this scenario. Anyway, moving on, Annie Mester has a couple of figures. This one looks a little odd. Doesn't really look like the arts. I mean, personally, because the figure is veering more towards realism with this face, I don't really like it. Can't claim this is bad, but I'd probably be pretty disappointed if I really liked this art and then this was the final product, because it's just so different. We have some convenience store girl, the kind shop assistant, who looks a little off as well, though the art style is definitely, you know, being attempted here at the very least. Kind of a shame they took away the leggings on the figure, unless there's just going to be 2 different versions of this figure. In fact, that's probably what they're going to do, or like some deluxe version. We got a new succubus figure. Her name is Miona. Okay, like her horns, very long. this lazy maid Sybil, alright, just in its early 3D model phase. And then I thought this was kind of funny, a non-scale figure of Doro, specifically like that gremlin chibi version, which everybody like turns into memes. We could talk about Alpha Max. They had a decent selection, though I'm not going to say this was one of them. This Rika figure, it looks like her eyes are leaving her head. What went wrong there? That is pretty bad. Akane looks fine on the other hand, not like super impressive either, but not offensive in any way. I don't know what she's holding, but she sure is pushing that against her chest just to, lift them up a little bit, which, does make the chest sculpt a little bit more intriguing. But I think the star of the show here was just all of the 1/4 scales that they're making, especially for Azur Lane. It feels like they found their calling. We have the Bremerton pillowed counseling version, which frankly, I don't really like this outfit on her. Not really my style. But yeah, they ain't holding back. It looks like her chest is about to burst out of this outfit. And of course, they remembered to give her the lotion, because I guess she's going to give you a massage or something. I do like the jewelry, though. Nice and fancy. Very pretty. We had this figure of Kashino loading screen illustration. They absolutely made her chest, like, twice as big, and she was already humongous, but, like, this is bigger than the art for sure. But if you're in the market for a Kashino figure, I don't think you're really going to nitpick if the boobs are too big or not. You probably want them to be bigger, if anything. From Azur Lane, we have the Chikuma Premium Prize on the Table version. Bunny figure, popping a champagne bottle. Has the longest ears imaginable. Like, look at these goddamn things. But you know what? She's got a really pretty face, and I love this, like, shade of orange for her outfit and her eyes. And I guess, like, the flower and the inside of her ears as well. We have another Bremerton figure. This is the Memories version. So, a Christmas-themed figure. Uh-oh, she is wrapped in lights. Be a really fun idea if those lit up, but I doubt they will. And then we had a Kearsarge figure, again, at the 1/4 scale. Just so many 1/4 scales. But outside of Azur Lane, we also had 2 figures from Senran Kagura, one for Toki, as well as Yumi. Honestly, the last 3 figures all look like they could be placed on a Daki Makura. That would make sense to me. Even this one's like on a bedsheet clearly, so I think that's what they're going for. We're jumping over to Hobby Sakura next. These guys have been making waves lately, a lot of support from the community, and I feel like this will be another one that people talk about quite a bit. A 1/4 scale of Cinderella from Goddess of Victory, Nikke. Forget about a shelf, you might need a whole desk just for this figure. It looks enormous. Is that supposed to be weaponry or like shields circling her? I guess you guys fill me in. They do look really well sculpted though, very cool elements to the figure. But if you're not staring at that, you're probably just looking at Cinderella herself with that very glossy body. Her entire body is so glossy, which makes me wonder, like, what is up with this character? Because I would get it for, like, the suit, but, I mean, those cheeks, like, it's all glossy, right? Very pronounced butt as well on this figure. A lot of hair too, twirling and curling about, very eye-catching. You know, if you're not looking anywhere else for too long, you might notice that. But yeah, there's also like these trace lines on these crystals, which are pretty neat. Makes them look futuristic. I think that was the only figure they painted though. They are making this Atri pajama version from Atri My Dear Moments, a pretty cute one. Feel like I've only ever seen her in the, like that one dress she wears to the beach. So nice to see her in another outfit at the very least. A lot of very early prototypes from them as well. Isabelle, Honeymoon Party, Marciana, School Days version. We have this Kane bunny figure. I remember this one from last time, literally not changed at all, as well as this wine glass bunny. And I think there's a little bit more on this page. A new Dorothy figure. This one's 1/7 scale, which will make it more reasonable for sure in terms of pricing. But considering her elaborate design, I wouldn't be surprised if this one is also pretty pricey. Just not nearly as much as that other one. And then a 1/4 scale of Scarlet, the Black Shadow version. Again, a lot of 1/4 scales for Nikke, but I guess that's just what's popular right now. Good old Prisma Wing was at One Fest. Let's see what they got. Usually not the biggest fan of their work, but they do have some good ideas. Wouldn't call this one of them though. Why are they making a life-size version of Cestia? Specifically a wedding bikini version. That just feels like a passion project by one guy on the team. They wanted this to happen. But is this even gonna be for sale? I don't know. Very strange choice for a life-size figurine though, or statue, rather. We have a very cute COCO figure from Is the Order a Rabbit. A little confused on the theming of this one, but it's certainly a nice little creative idea for her. There's also this flower imitation figure of Eater. I don't know if we've seen this one before. I feel like we've seen a pretty similar character, but this might be somebody else in the same series. I feel like that's the case. I think the other one was like sitting on like a very tall structure, whereas this girl's standing on it instead. Pretty similar like attire though, like the outfit that they're wearing. Going pretty hard on a Toka figure from Data Live 4, though that's not really out of the ordinary for them. They do make some pretty nice stuff for just this franchise. I would love to see this one at other angles. Seems like she's dual wielding these massive swords. One's a bit lighter, one's a bit darker. Really do love the way they colored the armor though. It has this really nice vibrancy and gloss to it. Her hair kind of falls apart for me though. I think they're using a little bit too much translucency for it. Looks a bit cheap in my opinion. Like a little bit at the end of her strands would have been fine, but I think there's like way too much here. And I just don't like that aspect of the figure. But otherwise, it's pretty impressive. It will likely cost you 60,000 yen, unfortunately. We have a figure from Classroom of the Elite of Karuizawa K. I think this is the main character. Usually they have some like nice blonde to light blue gradation in their hair, but I can't see that, unfortunately. I think this one looks okay. I guess I like the ribbon making a heart in the background. And the texture on the base is pretty interesting. I'm wondering like what they're using for that. We have a new figure of Ram to go alongside with the Echidna version, the Rem version. There might be an Amelia one. I can't remember right now. But I honestly don't dislike this concept. I think it's a pretty decent idea. And they've all been relatively affordable. But, you know, at the end of the day, these aren't the most exciting figures from ReZero. But they're okay. I don't really think they're worth hating or anything. And we have a new Len figure, I guess specifically designed by Lack in this instance. A little conceited to put your name like all over your pants. How vain can you get? But I do like the style of it. This sofa's awesome. Very like retro feeling. Also kind of curious if it has like a texture to it. It looks a bit tactile in a way. Like I'm supposed to like rub my finger on it or something. Seems like we're ending on an incredibly strong note here. This is the Saber Fate Stay Night 1/4 scale, which, I mean, certainly we've seen a lot of really nice Saber figures, but none with bases like this. Like, I think that's really what's making me like this so much. The two knights on her side, the swords kind of like stuck in the ground behind her. You can't see all of them, but there's a few back there. But also, I just really love her dignified stance. Very heroic feeling. Not too much emotion I could read on her face, at least from this photo I'm looking at, but I don't think it really clashes with anything else that's going on with the figure. In fact, I think it matches up pretty well. And yeah, her armor looks insane as well, a nice sheen on the plating, but really what I'm impressed by is the texture on the fabric. I think there might even be a pattern running through the blue portions of the dress and the sleeves, but again, this is a very like far away photo for me, so I'm gonna look for something for you guys to hopefully illustrate my point. And then last up, we had Siegfried from Grand Blue Fantasy. 1, this is awesome. 2, this photo's not that great. 3, why don't we get more figures from this series? I will never understand why we're not capitalizing on Grand Blue. Out of all the mobile games that are out there, I feel like Grand Blue has so many designs that I genuinely like, and then none of them ever get turned into figures. But yeah, this figure looks intense. That massive sword he's grasping onto, the wings kind of curling around his body. I'm assuming like part of his cape or like other cloth is also entangled around him. Seems like his hair is just like flowing all over the place coming out of his helmet, which is pretty neat. But I can't really get a good grasp on the head sculpt from this one photo. I'm sure if I could actually see his face, I could better understand like the mood that this figure is going for. Because it does seem a little bit dreary, but maybe it's not supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be more intense. Can't see like his eyes from here. So yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. And we'll jump forward to another company. Furyu F-Next Tenatal. Here is a 1/4 scale of 2B. The Japanese doll version, made from the finest cloth out of Japan. This will cost you like $1,800, not yen, dollars. So make sure you could actually afford this. We have some 1/7 scales of Liliel as well as Miriella from 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, another character from this series popping up. The shadow to her Sonic, really just inverting the colors here, but it's cute. Okay. We have a Kyoko figure from Blue Archive, early in production. Kimono style figure, I suppose. We got a 1/7 scale figure of Shina Mahiro, the relaxed version from the Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. Not exactly sure what expression is trying to be conveyed here, because she's really just listening to music, right? But she's like blushing about it. Don't know, maybe she's listening to a message or something. Got a cute little teddy bear with her though, and I do like her big comfy socks that she's wearing. But I think everything else on this page are like prize figures. They are making a really big noodle stopper for Marin, as well as this Tennital tall figure of Marin, the Gojo sportswear version. Pretty curious to see what they're doing with that. That just sounds kind of interesting. Actually, I just realized I was doing this page upside down, so next up is Flare. We have Nero from Goddess of Victory Nikke, cute cat girl design, though it doesn't really feel like it's up to par with Flare's typical quality. I don't know, I'm really not liking the sculpt so far. Could just be the photo. We have a figure of Bae, cheerleader outfit. Her head looks so tiny underneath all of this hair. This just looks off to me. I don't know, I feel like a figure of her would have looked a lot better, but I'm not digging this version of her right now. Maybe I'm the only one. Like, damn, that is a lot of hair on her head. It looks like it's eating her face. But we also have a figure of Clay. This one, I don't see how they would mess this one up, and I do like the more cheery vibes of it. So hopefully it's good. We have a figure of Shi from Shuna Yamashita, who is the artist that you typically see from Kotobukiya in the Bishoujo line. And then we had a figure of Abigail Williams in the works, the second Ascension version. Is she really just covering herself up with butterflies? Is that the only thing she's wearing outside of this one legging? There's like panties too. I don't know if there's a top to that. Big ol' witch hat with the teddy bear on it. There's like two, at least two. A lot of ribbons up there too. That's pretty good, can't lie. And then there's a figure of Skaha, the assassin version, Fate Grand Order, bikini style figure. This one might not even be a new update though. I feel like I've seen this announcement in the past. And then we had Golden Head, and I forgot that they announced two figures I think are genuinely extremely exciting. But before we get there, Prince Heinrich, Azur Lane, with that massive braided ponytail, but I like that it's only braided like halfway up, so you still get the volume of her hair, like kind of going around her body a little bit. Honestly, the more I look at her, the more I like this figure. Her face, her red eyes, this very like baggy, black, glossy jacket just looks really sick on her. The sweater crop top, like who am I to deny a good underboob? And all that like metallic red paints, like those accents around like her waist on that anchor. Pretty cool stuff. I do like this one quite a bit. We also had Plana, looking very cute, little meek with her expression, holding onto that gunbrella, right? Doesn't look like it has a lot of shading to it. Don't think she has too many other figures, so it would be a shame if this one didn't turn out that well. And we also had the Rias Gremory racing version, which I kind of like this bumblebee color scheme they went with. I don't know if this is the most like appropriate palette for her, but regardless, I'm really digging it, and I don't feel like they messed up her face too much. Some of her figures don't really look that great to me. Might not be the art style you're looking for, but I don't think it's like offensive in any way, which is also important sometimes. We'll move on now to something else. Couple of prototypes here. A new Kineko 1/6 scale figure. This is the play version, so a lot of her toys just, you know, laid out on the floor, ready to go, ready to play with. We had a figure of Station Yuzuki from the artist Freestyle, just showing off, I suppose, with her face mask. Kind of looks like a bootleg Hatsune Miku to me without any colors, but I'm sure that's not the case. We have a figure of the underwater flower Arisa. I guess she's literally supposed to be underwater if the flow of her hair is anything to go by, and just giving like a swimsuit figure a flower is honestly a nice touch I would never consider. Makes her look prettier. We have Rabi from Rurudo. I was curious what the colors on this figure were going to be, just because I kind of like the style of this one. So I looked up the arts, and it's going to be primarily red with pink hair, a little bit of white as well for the bunny ears and the sleeves, in quotes, that she's wearing, which is probably my favorite part. I really like these sleeves for some reason. Also, if they actually like make her nails look like this on the figure, then it'll be a 10 out of 10. Absolutely. But I don't think they'll go that hard. But if they just do like decals, I don't think it would be that hard to pull off either. So I guess we'll see. Last up are a few announcements from Golden Head, including a Sarika swimsuit figure from Blue Archive, a new Shiranui Mai from Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, which I'm not really liking the art style of this game. Like, I don't think the female cast really looks that great in this engine for some reason, but that's just a personal problem. Cool that we're getting a figure of her in this specific costume, though. And then, surprisingly, I think this is a pretty big deal, at least for someone like me. We're getting 2 figures from the King of Fighters 15, one of Kula Diamond and one of Shiranui Mai, but they're designed by Hungry Clicker. And if you follow like any fighting games, you've probably seen artwork of his. Hell, if you play Pokemon, you might have seen some of like his artwork on the cards. He's a pretty big artist at this point. He's like everywhere. But specifically in fighting games, I see him all the time, and his work is phenomenal. So I just think it's really exciting that he's designing fighting game figures. So I just think these are 2 that you should really keep your eyes on if you're a fan of King of Fighters or just like fighting games in general. I hope these do well, and then he keeps getting like picked up to do more work for figures, because that just seems very exciting to me. I don't think there's anything too interesting on this page. This one figure of Quincy is already up for pre-order, I'm pretty sure. These 3 figures from Eldora Model are all garage kits, so unfortunately, not the easiest thing to get your hands on. This one cat noodle figure of an obedient maid who wears a lewd bikini is just as true of a statement as you can get. That's literally what this is. Though it does seem like there's 2 different like bodies, and then the torso up, or really the chest up, seems to be the exact same sculpt. Might be a 2-in-1 sort of deal, not really sure. Surprisingly, there's another Shibana Pharaoh figure, though I do like the other outfit that she's wearing on the QuesQ figure, like 10 times more than this one. There's a figure of the Bound Succubus, which tells you everything you need to know. And then some very simple early in production figures from Usun, I suppose. No faces means I don't have too much to say about it. But this figure, I do like the concept. I do remember seeing this one from last time. Ascendia has a couple of figures as well, this Machi pajama version, and I think the next figure I'm gonna have to censor a little bit, just a little bit. I think there's something poking out there, so I'll play it safe. Magi Arts is surprisingly making a Duke of York figure. This one is the Counselor version, a 1/6 scale, from Azur Lane. I do feel like the Mimiyoi one kind of mogs this one a little bit. I feel like that one just looks so good. That's like a perfect figure in my opinion, especially at the 1/4 scale. This one I'm not really as impressed by. I do like what she's wearing, the pantyhose and the bra poking out of the blazer, but like, not really liking her face that much. She does seemingly come with another one though, but little hard to see how that would actually look on her. We have a figure of Helena, the Miracle in White version. I really like the pearlescent paint they used for the body of her dress. Though once you break away from that, even the veil too, that's all gonna be like semi-translucent plastic. Pretty foggy stuff, you can't really see through it. There is like some patterns running on the edges of the dress, which looks pretty good. Water rippling underneath her, and the shading on her hair does look pretty well done. Yeah, so this figure of Saya from Saya no Uta apparently created some like chaos on the MFC page. Like things got pretty heated over there, a lot of arguing for some reason. Not really sure why. Apparently there was some like gatekeeping and some like talks about scalping. I don't know. I know some of her figures get pretty expensive, and the subject matter in this visual novel is pretty graphic. It's definitely not for the light of heart, though truthfully I have not played this in a decade, at the very least. It's been a very long time. Memory is a little fuzzy at this point, but, you know, pretty sensitive and dark subject matter. But regardless, you know, we have a new figure of Saya here. They have her surrounded by these, I think they're tentacles in this instance. They kind of look like plant life a little bit in the artwork, but again, I kind of can't remember exactly what they're supposed to be. There's some, like, gross stuff hanging off of them, though. I don't remember those being in the key art that this figure is based on, though. But all of this should be green. It's not like guts or anything grotesque like that, but certainly things are a little unnerving just based on the body language, how she's feeling right now. While this isn't something that I'm really keeping my eyes on, I don't really care if this gets extremely expensive at one point. I guess this is something that's pretty hyped up at this point. So just be aware that a new Saya figure is on the horizon, and it does seem to be shaping up pretty nicely. I believe that might be it for Magi Arts. Oh no, we have one more figure, the Shino swimsuit version, Little Devil Girl, okay. Freya is making a couple of figures. This one Mimi swimsuit version just got announced from Astral Party. Seems like a pretty fun design, as well as the Lepus Bondage Magic version. What is going on here? Maybe I don't want to ask those questions in this video, but certainly something age restricted, I'm sure. Otherware, working on some figures, Kana, Artist Madden, fuck yeah, football, let's fucking go. We have the White Bunny Girl from Sakiyamama, a couple of nurse figures, an angel and a devil, very interesting. Also, I should let you know that I'm not showing literally everything in this gallery. Some of it's just not appropriate enough for YouTube, and I'm kind of like skirting the line here. I am showing some pretty saucy stuff, so you can imagine what I'm leaving out. This will be linked in the description down below if you want to check it out yourself though, but you know, just wanted to let you guys know that. So we're gonna move on now to proof. This figure of Kamina is sick as hell, and the most impressive part about it is the Gurren hand that's acting as the base. This photo doesn't look that good, but some photos I've seen floating around online just look so crisp. Kamina does look great on his own though. I really do like the style they went with, very dynamic, cape really aggressively flowing behind him, and even like the curve of the sheath and the blade, even his foot on the thumb kind of curving upward. I just like the movement and just like, I don't know, design of Kamina here. Might be my favorite figure of him so far, but I'm very worried about the price. Here's a pretty interesting figure of Shinobu from the Monogatari series. Now, unfortunately, I think it kind of falls apart because of her face. Now, I like that she's smug, but I think it needs a few touch-ups. I just don't think it looks that great right now. However, it's a Shinobu figure, not focusing on donuts, and rather like the fact that she's a vampire with all of these bats just flying around her, even one in her hand, which is pretty neat. The crescent moon behind her is also a very nice touch, though I do hope they change the white disc on the bottom. Really don't like that, feels like it clashes with everything else. But yeah, it's a great idea. I just think they need to fix her face a little bit, and then it'll be very good. But I'm pretty sure they had some other stuff, like a new Raphtalia figure from the Rising of the Shield hero. Since I don't follow the show, I don't know what the goo underneath the shield is supposed to be, but it does look kind of neat. Not really complaining about it. Her face, again, from what little I know about her, looks a little off to me. I do like that she's angry here, though. She's shouting really in the moment, you know? Certainly it feels like she's about to fight somebody, and I do appreciate that approach for her. A figure of Kana, the relaxation version, not too different from that figure we saw in the One Hobby video, though she is wearing pajamas in this instance. There's like a terrible seam line in her arm though, and because like the texture is supposed to be like fluffy, it has this like zigzag to it that makes it look like the figure is actually cracked. Hopefully that gets touched up. But yeah, she's got this coloring book, which is very cute. The rug underneath her looks, I don't know, not very appealing to me. Though I do like this bear plushie she's sitting on. That's very cute. Little pillow off to the side too. Also, thankfully, unlike the last two figures, I don't think there's anything wrong with her face here, at least in this one photo that I'm looking at. And then we had a pretty mediocre figure of Ryza. I don't like this one. This looks legit like a $30 figure, and they're gonna ask like $19,000 or something for it. Not a bad idea. A little sleepy Ryza figure could be cute, but I think this one needs a little bit more work, unfortunately. Is Rosen Maiden making a comeback in some way? I feel like all of a sudden we're seeing a decent amount of figures for this franchise. Or is it just like the company's playing catch up at this point? Because they realize there's a market there. But I do like the concept of them coming out of the suitcases. Honestly, because of that stained glass and the roses underneath them, I keep thinking about the Toho Alter figures, because both of those figures also have those incorporated into the figures as well. Though, I mean, everything else is very different. I feel like they're going to ask a lot for these, and hopefully they're good enough to warrant that price point. Oh, and there was one more figure from Proof. Here is Eto Ranze from Tokimeki Tonight, which I'm pretty sure is a show from the 80s. I think this is a throwback figure. Just a thank you to the fans, celebrating an old show that most other companies would never think about making a figure for. So that's neat. I think that's about it though for this page. Our Treasure making a couple of the Summer Queen figures, Scotty and Hayasaki Ai. Kawa Design has this Anastasia girl, as well as Natalia and Haifu. And then Stronger, this one's actually pretty impressive. Let's zoom in on it. A 1/7 scale figure of Minamoto no Raiko swimsuit version, but also she's just in combat. The weapon's out. I really like how the tip of the blade is like turning into translucent plastic and then surrounded by purple electricity. You get a little bit of that around her feet as well, but I hope this isn't the final product for the base. Like this base, while I don't mind the sleek square, her feet look really weird with these like little acrylic discs underneath. Even if those were like just purple instead, that would be so much better. But the whole thing should probably just be like jaggy around her feet, right? Otherwise, this is a really sick swimsuit figure. Such a stance. Really lunged forward. A lot of movement incorporated into the sculpt here, and the hair kind of swirling behind her is pretty neat as well. Stronger usually does some good work. I think this one will be pretty sick as well. It's a brand new day, and I am ready to record. We're almost done. There's like a few more really important pages, but I think we could wrap this up pretty soon, or at least I hope so. I really need to start editing this, but we're going to talk about Aniplex next. And first up, they had a new Kitagawa Marin figure, a Race Queen style. One of those, like, very surprising it didn't happen sooner moments. Just such a popular character that you would have imagined somebody would have jumped on this idea first. But I'm really digging this outfit on her. The pinks and the whites, very glossy, the checkerboard pattern. And there's something about her hair that looks a little bit more luxurious to me. I don't know if it's just like a little bit wavier than it typically is, but I do find her appearance here rather pretty. I think there was another figure of her, or rather her cosplay of Shizuku Koroe. This is a non-scale figure though, and doesn't really look like her currently. We have a new Saber Alter figure. This is the bunny version, coming with this massive hamburger and a milkshake and fries. Maybe like an American small, but like the biggest portion imaginable everywhere else in the world. But you know what? I kind of love this one. This like egregious amount of food makes this figure very silly to me, but also turns it around to being very charming. So good on them for picking up this design. I think it slaps. We have a pretty crazy looking figure here of Castor Morgan from Fate Grand Order. Got like a whole orbital space station circling her. Maybe it's her noble phantasm. I don't actually know too much about her. But this is pretty eye-catching. Pretty spiky looking too. You wouldn't want to get poked by any of these points on the gate. She does have like this element of gracefulness too, just like with the way she's walking. Barefoot, might I add. Though it does seem like she's not really covering herself up that much. I'm kind of curious what this outfit actually looks like. Now, here's some figures that the people have been dying for. We have Nijika, Ryo, and Ikuyo on stage performing with their instruments from Bocchi the Rock, of course. Interestingly though, Nijika does not have those background pieces, and I think it's just because the drum set is a little bit too elaborate compared to a bass or a guitar, so I do understand that, but it is a bit of a shame that she's gonna lose out on that. However, she's wearing the suspenders, and that's like her cutest outfit. So this figure is gonna be a banger, and if they mess it up, I'll never forgive them. But I do like that they're finally making all 4 of the band members, because really that's what people wanted, all 4 of them performing together. Usually it's just Hitori, but thankfully Aniplex has listened. I believe this guy is from Disney Twisted Wonderland, says it right down there. Malice Draconia. I probably wondered this last time, but I'm assuming this is like a male version of Maleficent. That would make sense to me, based on the colors and the outfit. I think these thorns or trees down here are pretty cool, just like the way they're painted. Very glossy otherwise, though. And he's got a pretty sinister expression on, which feels like it's very appropriate for that character. Seems like they're also making a bunch of minifigures for Disney Twisted Wonderland as well. Make an appearance once again down here, and then a bunch of extra announcements. Shisato and Takina again are getting figures, assumingly based off this art, and I do hope this is a 2-in-1 set, because I think this artwork is adorable, and I really like their outfits, and even their like poses with the peace signs. You got Chisato's arm around Takina. We have a bunny figure of Vatalina from 86, have not thought about that show in a while, nice that they're continuing to make figures for it. A swimsuit, or specifically school swimsuit version of Anna from Maka Ine, which I appreciate seeing more of her. Nobody else exists in this show though. Why don't we have figures of any other character, considering a few of them were very important to the series as well. But I mean, I guess I do like Anna the most, so I guess I won't complain about it. I'm assuming this would count as a swimsuit figure too. Beast Ureshkagal, first Ascension version. Do like the art on that one. Claynel is up next. I don't think they had anything painted, but we have Kazusa from Blue Archive, as well as Formidable, the Sweet Time version. She's been getting a lot of figures lately. Next up was a figure of Kuren-chan, who looks pretty cute, though rather simplistic and not too exciting for me compared to like the other Uma Musume girls and their outfits. And then a couple of announcements. We had Owari from Azur Lane. That outfit looks sick, as well as Polka from Hololive. I think this is the best announcement from them. Polka has always deserved a better figure. Her design is amazing, and honestly, so is she. So like, my eyes are glued to this announcement. I really want to know what they're cooking for Polka. Alright, let's go through this page. We have Gecco here. You know I'm going to spend some time on them. But also Union Creative. Not sure if they brought anything too exciting, but we have this Minazumi Kasane figure, where she's looking all shy in her bikini, and the shaved ice looks delicious. Honestly, that's probably the best part of the figure, because everything else is pretty standard. I believe I saw a Toloveru figure of Tirju nurse version. That makes for like the 5th one in the line, as well as a new swimsuit figure for Yui. We have these Kalnika 15th Memorial versions. There's 2 different color schemes for these figures. Can't recall if these are very like old figures being re-released or these are entirely new sculpts, but just this design I've seen plenty of times in the past. Very popular in like certain groups. Not really for me. A little too creepy. Not into this like whatsoever, but it is neat. And I do like that they're making a bit of a return. We have a figure from Azur Lane of Sela, who looks rather pretty. A lot of like battleship equipment behind her as well. This dress, very formal. Kind of looks like a wedding dress too to me. Seeing the art this figure is based on would probably paint a much clearer picture for me, but does seem pretty promising. From Blue Archive, we have Momoi as well as Midori. I feel like I see these two all the time, assuming they're very popular, but I don't think they really have figures. These might be the first scale figures of them. This setup is very funny. That gun is as big as her, and she looks ill-equipped, but really ready to go with it. She's ready to fucking shoot that thing. And then, you know, Midori is a little bit more calm and collected. We have an OC figure of Hapa-chan, which I guess she's just having a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction. Okay. I do like the style of her face. Like, the art style is pretty good here. And her school bag just being lined with stickers, and they're all seemingly there. I can appreciate Union Creative actually like putting all of them, because some other companies might get pretty lazy about it. Got a couple more OC figures. Komase-chan, you can see the arts side by side. Always making the chest like a little bit bigger than it should in my opinion. Though she was busty, and it's not like outrageous this time, but it does look a little off nevertheless. I do like this Christmas-inspired outfit though, it's pretty cute. We also have a figure of Alice, the kimono version. That could be a fantastic figure. And then last up, almost missed this one because of the glare on the screen, we have Saotome Mary from Kakegururi. I just cannot say the name of that show fast, which I think we all should have saw coming considering they made the Yumeko figure. I believe that literally just came out. Seems like people are mostly positive on it. Might be like some mixed reception here and there, but I did like the just the design of that Yumeko figure. So this one should be pretty good too, at least in terms of like what they come up with. And from Brilliant Journey, we finally have the prototype of the Bremerton Happy Dating version. And I'm happy that they included pretty much everything I would want them to from the arts this figure is based on. She looks a little annoyed though, like she doesn't really look that happy on this sculpt, which is making me not really like it as much, though I do really like this outfit. That was kind of the main reason I was considering getting this one. But right now, I don't know, I'm a little 50-50 on it. Could just be this one photo though, not being the best. Still more on this page though. BellFine had a couple of things. Shisato and Takina again. The white dress versions, pretty simplistic. They're also at the beach with some sun hats. Another Liliel figure too. Pretty similar outfit, but this time like the top seems a little tighter. Sometimes she has underboob, sometimes she doesn't. This one also has like garters, which I kind of dig. We have a figure of Hayu Mayuri, Lustalote Phantom costume from 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. So this really was the event where like the other part of the cast finally got some merchandise. A new figure of Kissshot is actually being made by BellFine. Now, they had a really popular figure of Kissshot a few years back. I believe she's holding the hearts, it's like a little bloody, and I'm wondering if the success of that figure is making them want to try again. I think this setup is cool, how windy it is, even like has her hand to her hair just because it's like blowing so aggressively back there. I just don't think this has the same excitement and like universal appeal as that other one did. I think that figure was pretty special, while this figure of Kissshot feels a little safer and a little less ambitious. We have a new Kenshin figure, a very action-oriented one, like super low to the ground, lunging forward, swords like really in motion, like there is a very believable sense of movement here, especially if you see this figure from the side, but also he's so fierce, like that expression's great as well. His clothing is also so creased and wrinkled. They're just putting so much effort into this Kenshin figure for some reason. But we also had a few more painted prototypes. The Izumo Tenka Chinese dress version from Chain Soldier. Kind of wish they were doing a little bit more with her hair. That like sculpting falls like slightly flat in my opinion, but otherwise not too bad. We had a figure of Naruse from Summer Pockets enjoying a little watermelon popsicle. Pretty cute, pretty simple. There was a figure of Alice from Classroom of the Elites on the chessboard. Floor panels are looking rather polished if I do say so myself. We had a figure of Rin from Bunny Garden, and yes, that is a mirror to show you what the backside of this figure looks like, down to the color, just so you know. Just so you know exactly what you're getting into. The Samurai Pizza Cat posable figures, that's honestly pretty freaking cool. This Berserker fella kind of looks like a mix of Simon Belmont and like Snake from Metal Gear. Just like the outfit, but the hair. Never heard of that series, seems kind of neat. Some more posable figures, a new scale figure of Leopard from Gushing Over Magical Girls, specifically this form, which is a bit of a surprise. Leaves very little to the imagination, and she does look a bit more unhinged, especially in this art piece. Seems like they're actually making the 2D versions for Miruko as well as Froppy, which, I mean, they did a great job with Toga, who you could see right here in the same photo. So I think that's very exciting news. Was there anything else from BellFine? Seems like we're also getting a 2D version of Bakugo. Probably Deku at some point as well. That would be weird if he didn't. Unless that already happened, maybe it did. Now, Gecco. These are my goats. Some pretty interesting stuff from them this time around. Like this new Hunter figure from Bloodborne. Now, this is the exact same sculpt, with a slightly bloodier paint job. But they're also including a bunch of weapons, which were previously released as like weapon packs, but this is like an all-in-one figure. Probably gonna cost a pretty decent amount of money. I'm not gonna buy this because I actually already own the Puddle of Blood version of the Hunter, but I hope this means that they might re-release some other figures in their catalog, because there's some that are just so much money, and I'm never gonna be able to afford. Next up, we have the Bloody Wolf from Elden Ring, which I'm probably gonna buy, though I will admit that the art they showed off originally when this figure was announced was way cooler than what we got. This was kind of what I would have expected from an Elden Ring figure from Gecco, because they keep things rather static and just focus on the meticulous detail of like the armor sets or like whatever they're sculpting. The only issue here is that like I don't really care about the character in the armor. Like this guy doesn't mean anything to me. So I don't know if this is like a must get, but depending on the price, you know, I could see myself definitely getting that guy. We have a figure of Naked Snake. Now this one's specifically designed off the Delta version, which is the remake coming out in August, which looks like Snake, but also kind of doesn't at the same time. I really want to reserve judgment on this one just because I can't tell if I really like his face right now. It just is too square in my opinion. Though I think the idea of adding a Snake figure to the collection, especially from Metal Gear Solid 3, the best one, that sounds awesome. Just not sure if this is gonna be one I go for, or even my girlfriend, because she probably likes Snake and Metal Gear more than I do. We're also getting a figure of Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 4. Now I know this company has made a Raiden figure in the past. Might have been based off Revengeance, I actually cannot remember right now. but I do believe this is a brand new sculpt for the company. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're also getting this figure, the Guts Lost Children arc redecoration version. So a very long time ago, we got a Guts figure from them. Looked pretty similar to this, but this is essentially a redo. Wouldn't really call it a re-release, because in my opinion, it looks miles better. Let me get you guys a photo of his face. This is without a doubt the best face for a Guts figure I've ever seen. That stare is so on model. I think that's a huge selling point for this figure. Plus, you actually get Puck right on his shoulder. Nice to actually see him incorporated into this figure. Looks perfect too. If I didn't commit to those Prime 1 Studios Legacy Art Collection figures, I would absolutely be interested in this. But like, I don't think I can. I do think this will be like a stunning figure when it comes out, but I just don't have the room. Usually Apex brings a lot of heat to these events. I actually don't know their full catalog at One Fest this year. We do have this new Bremerton illustration version. I feel like there's another name for this figure. I know this one does match alongside with the Formidable figure, which might also be in this gallery, but I don't really feel that strongly about this one. Nothing against the figure by any means. Looks very well painted. The outfit is pretty sexy, but I don't know, we're getting to the point where there's so many Bremerton figures, and this one's not really speaking to me, outside of like how good her legs look, and the shading on the thigh highs, plus the garter belts, very good stuff. Even like a pasty, but only on one boob, very interesting. League of Legends is a franchise that Apex likes to make a lot of figures for. We have Kaisa, KDA All-Out version. This is pretty similar to the other figures they've put out in the KDA line, but like the all-out distinction, maybe this is a different costume, or maybe this is a character that never got a figure so far. I actually don't know. I don't play League of Legends at all. But man, those glossy pants sure look good. Plus the wings, like these crystal wings, and they actually look like they're kind of floating behind her. Very well done. We have a figure of Formidable. This was the one that I was mentioning earlier, and I like this one way more for some reason. It might just be like the slightly more modest outfit, the boa around her shoulders, just really fluffy. I think it does complement the rest of the outfit. Even like the card in the cleavage is kind of cute, rather than a pasty, which makes it like a little bit too suggestive in my opinion. Personal preference, but you know, I just think she looks really nice here. Plus I know this photo isn't like too zoomed in or anything, but I could tell her face is extremely pretty. Those eyelashes, so thick, and like that shade of red, kind of perfect. Really like that one. We have some Lime Pie figures, which are their budget line of Atago and Takao swimsuit versions, okay? They look pretty solid for what will be around like 5,000, 6,000 yen or so. There is a 1/7 scale figure of Noshiro, the Uncharted Festival Grounds version. Unfortunately, this is another instance where I can't really get a full grasp on whether or not I really like this figure. Like, it's a little hard for me to see the pattern work on the sleeves, the gradation throughout the outfit and her hair. Even her face, you know, it doesn't look amazing from afar. I could tell she's eating a candy apple. She's also got that fluffy boa around her shoulders, which I don't really think works as well here compared to the Formidable figures outfit, but I'm assuming you could take that off very easily if you don't like it. And the whole setting, very cute, skipping along the stones, but yeah, I definitely need to see that one later on my own time. We have a figure of Silva from Grand Blue Fantasy. Wow, actually getting another Grand Blue Fantasy figure. But she's wearing this really lovely formal gown, a really royal blue, kind of gradates into a lighter purple. Seems like there's some pattern work on it as well from what I can tell. Her hair is like zigzagging and curling all over the place. Can't forget about that massive gun behind her, lined in gold and bronze alongside that wooden finish. Looks spectacular, and she sure is showing off them legs. They look very long on the sculpt, probably because of the heels, but nevertheless, I do like it. We have the 1/7 scale of New Jersey, the Midsummer Leisure version. Cheeks full on display here. In fact, they're kind of the focal point, because she's in the back of the figure, looking over the shoulder at you, pretty lovingly so, sipping on her drink with the heart straw. It's a pretty nice setup. Hair is just all over the sand. Manju's kind of chilling over there with those goofy sunglasses that she also has as well. And her feeties are right in the front of the figure. Sculpt's looking good. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen like a laying down beach figure like this. so it's kind of different for that reason alone. We have a figure from Goddess of Victory at Nikke of Rosanna, another swimsuit figure, and a rather daring one at that. There's a lot of like straps all around her body. Even the swimsuit, like the top of the bikini, I would pretty much just call a strap. I'm assuming that's supposed to be sunscreen in her hand. That would make sense. Her hair sculpt is definitely a highlight though. Feels like they're putting in a lot of attention to the way it's kind of like flowing down her body, resting like on her chest a little bit. We have Berengaria from Unicorn Overlord. In the little time I played this game, she was one of my favorite units. I really don't like the battle damaged ass focus of this figure. That's like the last thing I think about when I'm thinking of her. I know there's a better chance a figure will sell well if it has more fan servicey elements to it, but I just don't like this approach. It's a bit of a shame because I otherwise would have went for this figure, unless this is like referencing a point in the game, like a story beat that I never got to, and then I would like just take back my statement because it would make more sense. But at the very least, she is in like a fighting stance, really lunging forward with the shield and the axe in hand. There's like a 90% chance though you are going to need like an extra support for her knee that's lifted up in the air, just because she's really leaning to the side, so that'd be a little bit too risky to not have something like that. But the sculpt does look great. It's just not really for me. But I mean, hey, she's hot. I get it. I totally get it. And who knows, maybe I'll change my mind when we see the paint on this figure, because it might just look that good. And then we also had a figure from Snowbreak Containment Zone, which I think this might be the first in the video, of Enya, Excuvia Kiss Therapy version, which I assume is some nurse attire. Zenless Zone Zero is continuing to get figures from this company. I think there's 3 in this gallery. Corin, Alexandrina, as well as Von Lycaon. Is that how you would say that? A little weird, a few of these names. But yeah, that makes like 7 right now. I think there's like 7 figures for Genshin in total. It's just insane. But they're doing the right thing for this series at the very least. Is Ellen Jo getting a figure yet? The Shark Girl? I think she has like a lime pie. And there might be like another figure in the works from Apex. Maybe. That's the one I want to see. Muse Dash is actually getting a new figure, a 1/8 scale lime pie of Margia, sister version. Look how sparkly her eyes are. I like the sword too. Pretty cool for a like nun figure to come equipped with. Next up, we had an Overlord figure of Albedo. Another nun figure, actually, the sister version. This one looks pretty sexy, not gonna lie. Pretty fitting outfit for her too. So we'll have to see how that one turns out. And then a bunch of announcements. As you would expect, we have Owari, My Wish is for Love version, assuming that's the silhouette of the figure right there. We have a figure of St. Louis, the Race Queen version. Okay, St. Louis. Definitely got to capitalize on St. Louis's popularity. We have Shinano, the Moonlight Chrome version. Can't really get a good idea of what they're doing here without knowing the art, unfortunately. A new Taiho figure, the Enraptured Companion version. Okay. We have a lime pie of Joker, as well as the hero, or Minato, from Persona 3 Reload. I kind of wish these were just scale figures. I don't think we really needed budget figures of either of these two. Certainly not of Joker, but maybe for Persona 3 that'd be a little bit more needed. There's not as many figures for this game. But yeah, a little surprised they announced lime pies for them. And then we're getting some more KDA all-out figures from League of Legends of Akali and Eveline. A 1/7 scale of Dia Marina, clothing falling apart version from Dead or Alive Extreme Venus Vacation. Well, there you go. Getting some other characters from Dead or Alive. Every time I complain about something, it seems like it gets reversed shortly after. Where's the Xenoblade figures, Good Smile Company? Make it happen. But yeah, I think on this page, after these like bobblehead style figures, some cute chibi figures from other series, there's also Elegant to talk about. We have Jade from Azur Lane, a lot of charm points on this one if you get what I mean, but do like her outfit and her expression, definitely digging it. We have the Kashino, made for the Mayhem version. So many figures of her get made at this point that I'm not sure if this one's actually updated or not. This girl's doing a big stretch. We have Formidable, rocking Encore version. Man, I did not even realize that was Formidable. Honestly, I don't even really understand the theming of this one, but if they just want to make a figure of Formidable, showing off her legs as much as possible, while wearing a very skimpy bikini, I'm guessing that's a bikini, then more power to them. it'll probably look as sexy as this art does. And then I guess there's also a figure of Lilith from the artist-ish, who we've seen a couple of times in this video. Very revealing dress, pretty much covering nothing but her butts. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a window back there too. And then we also had a figure of the Bad Police from the artist Chela 777. Swimsuit figure, but comes with a fluffy base. Getting mixed signals here. With those last few pages wrapped up, I think it's time for our victory lap. So I'm just gonna kind of scroll through the rest of it, show you guys what else was on offer at this event. And if we see anything that I should really talk about, I'll be sure to. But, you know, we've definitely been recording for a very long time, and these events are pretty damn massive. Usually I don't really have that much to say about the OC figures too, but I don't want to neglect them or anything. I don't think that's really fair. This one's full frontal. There you go. Happy Halloween. Is this supposed to be a dog or a cat? That's kind of charming. Okay. Yeah, Space Mogura, they make some pretty lewd shit I probably shouldn't be showing, but you know what is what it is. We had Wonderful Works, probably a company I should have said a little bit more about, so we'll see what they actually brought. DMM Factory, a lot of these made Mason figures, finally painted. This one's got some great colors to it, specifically her hair. Sorry if I keep zooming in and out. Some of these photos are much bigger than the others. But there's definitely some cool stuff from DMM Factories in the works right now. The only problem is that, like, pretty much everything they make is just so damn expensive. It's like way more expensive than it should be. And they're all like the exact same price too, for some reason. Wasn't expecting DMM Factory to start making some Nikke figures, but we have Banquet Princess and Aid. There's also some more Niji Sanji figures. This girl's pretty cute. I do like her look. Wonderful Works brought their Ryza figure, the crossover with Azur Lane, which is probably why there's like even more emphasis put on like her attractive body, especially her chest, right? Her hair looks really nicely sculpted as well, like those bangs going like slightly over her eyes, and that inviting pose with the sheet, you know, lifting up a little bit. You gotta like it. This next one though is really gonna make me buy another Blue Archive figure. I really shouldn't, but this Sayori figure looks stunning in my opinion. She looks so fucking cool, and the paint is amazing on her outfit. That stare and that midriff is just like making the money fly out of my wallet. I don't think I'm gonna be able to resist this one. And since she's painted, it's probably gonna go out for pre-order pretty damn soon. This is like my favorite Blue Archive figure of the whole event, and the other ones too. I really like it that much. We also have a figure from Girls Frontline 2, which I expect to see a lot of next time, maybe in a year or so. Because this game, man, it's exploding on the internet. But we have this macchiato dress ballroom interlude version currently in the works. Here's another swimsuit figure of Yumiya showing off her butt. Hobby Stock has this pretty sporty figure of Miku, the Digital Stars 2024 version. What is she holding in her hand? Is that like a little speaker that looks like an apple? There's like a stem coming out of it. Thought it was a yo-yo at first. Don't think that's the case, though it would fit the vibe of the rest of the figure and like her outfit specifically. Her eye decals are superb though. I really like her face. These little sunglasses too. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Is this one not out yet? The Hatsune Miku Digital Stars 2023 version where she's got this like monster tail and the very sharp teeth and like it's kind of drooling a little bit. This is definitely one of the more out there designs for Miku, no doubt about that. Certainly like it. Don't think I'm gonna pick this one up or anything. But very curious, you know, how this one turns out, what they're going to price it at, if it's not already up for pre-order already. We have the Miku Expo 10th anniversary version. I do remember this one, if only for like her swoopy twin tail hair. I do like the little colorful accents throughout her outfit as well, like the piano keys on the dress, the highlights in her hair. Even her nails are pink, which is usually not the color they go for. Scrolling down, it seems like we have a few figures of Asuna from Hobby Stock. I think I forgot to mention the other Miku figures were Hobby Stock as well. But here is the roomwear version as well as the nightwear version. 1/4 scale and 1/6 scale, respectively. Now we also had a figure of Yukinoshita Yukino, the swimsuit version, 1/6 scale. I like the addition of the skirt tied around her waist. I think that really does complete the swimsuit and makes it feel very fitting for her. Also a 1/6 scale figure of Hitori, the casual clothes version. maybe my memory is a little hazy. I don't recall this specific outfit. It might have been in the anime, but just like a scene that's not sticking in my brain right now. S-Fire. I don't think I've heard anything about the figures they showed off at OneFest over the past week, though they did show off the lovely made versions of Shinju, Marin, and Sajuna, though the colors they went with, not really what I was expecting. Maybe Marin's, right? Like the pink, definitely fitting for her. But yeah, I don't know, the green and the purple, just not what I expected. We had this marshmallow hot cocoa Miku, which really doesn't look like her in my opinion, but this is a very cute idea, especially because they're incorporating these little rabbits, and their ears are marshmallows, like toasted marshmallows, with chocolate icing on top. It's adorable. I don't see Miku in that, but I do think it's very cute. Here's a figure of Asuka, which I don't think looks very good. She looks very frail and kind of sickly. Like, it kind of worked for the Rei figure, but I don't really like this Asuka one. We had a figure of Mina from Kaiju number 8, where she's wearing like her, commander outfit, or I guess they call it the formal uniform version. But, despite losing that massive cannon that she fights with, if you didn't want something so big, I do like that this is the direction they took with this figure, because you just get a different, version of her, like an outfit that you're not going to get with the other figures they're putting out, where they're in like the military gear. If characters are seen wearing other outfits in the show, then I think it makes sense to make figures of those different outfits. This one's very surprising. A Majima Captain Majima figure, so like the pirate version from the upcoming game. And I'm not really sure how I feel about this. It's certainly very exciting to continue to get more Yakuza figures, but this is going to be a one-off thing, unless all of a sudden Majima just continues to be a pirate throughout the rest of the series. So unless this is like the best game ever and I just love Pirate Majima, I think I'm just going to wait for Kotobukiya to finish their figure of him. But more Yakuza is always a good thing, so glad they're making that. Other than that though, on this page we had Hobby Search, which, is that the store? Like 1999, Hobby Search? I don't think it is. Actually, I'm just wrong. The plaque has it right there. When did they start making figures? Okay, that's kind of cool. Nothing I'm super interested in though. These last two don't even look that good in my opinion. This one looks pretty promising though, depending how it's painted. System Service is making a Mao Mao, but I don't think her dress or like kimono really turned out that nice. Needs to be a little bit more elegant, a little finer in the details. Her face looks okay. The translucent tips in her hair I think could look a little bit better as well. Just not a big fan of the colors throughout this figure. Alrighty, we're almost done. We have Ray's Dream. They're making a pretty decent amount of Snowbreak Containment Zone figures. There's at least 4 of them currently in production, so at least some companies got your back if you play this game. There's also Wave. I think they're making something that I was interested in. The Onimai Kaide figure, which is finally painted, looks alright. Something doesn't feel right here. Certainly reminiscent of the anime's art style. The bikini should be pretty tight. I remember that being a key point in the show. Though it does look kind of cheap at the same time. Don't really like the sculpting of the strings, which is a nitpick, but I don't know, there's just something off about this figure. Ronko from the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls getting a new figure. Bit of a different style as far as like an idol figure goes. This outfit's not really sure what it's about, but I do like the change up. New Ryza figure, the Slime Girl, which I don't think is the main character. Doesn't look like it to me, but I haven't actually seen that show. Just familiar with the main character. Metacost showing off their new Ryza scale, which looks pretty solid. Though it kind of looks like she's wearing a school uniform of some kind. This might be from a game that I don't know anything about. We have the 1/4 scale of Mahito. I guess they're going to give you the option to take off the shirt. Why would they make it cloth otherwise? I do like the pathetic, peace sign that Mahito does sometimes. I think that always makes for a good pose. We have from Senran Kagura a Toki Bikini Armor version. That design might slap. We also have a Sodom's Beast Draco second Ascension figure. Kind of just looks like a very small saber, like saber red. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But pretty curious on that one. We had Masked, once again, from Goddess of Victory Nikke, getting a figure in the outfit that she typically wears, and there's that bird tweaking out with the eyes bugging out of its head. And I think everything else is from Daiki Kyogo. Nothing super noteworthy here, in my opinion, so we're going to jump over to our last page, which is actually Alice Glint, Rebos, and Cosmos Sora. As far as the notable figures go from Alice Glint, because there was quite a few, we did have this Kier Saint, Reverent Runner, which, I don't know, just like seeing her wearing this outfit, think it's pretty cute. From Azur Lane, we had Massachusetts, Dressed to Impress, looking beautiful. Really like this figure of Marcille, where she's dressed up a little bit more like a witch. I think it's referencing one of the pages in the manga, like before the chapter begins. I'm pretty sure I would maybe consider buying this if I wasn't dead set on getting the Good Smile Company figure, but I do think her face looks better here. I do love this expression. It's a very cute Marcille, and all the emphasis on the books or the tomes I think is very appropriate for a Marcille figure, and she's like summoning a little snowflake with her wand. I think it's pretty charming. There was also a figure of Arya and Tama. Very convenient censorship. Don't think I've ever seen it done quite like this before. So for that reason alone, I'll give this figure some props. There is a monster, kind of succubus looking girl. Her tail is like a tulip. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty different. A few figures from the Parquet series, very elaborate bases on these two. Also a figure from Cafe Stella and the Death Goddess's Butterfly of Kana. What you doing with that thing in the cafe? I don't know, but the weapon does look pretty sick. A couple more unpainted prototypes. They really do bring a lot to these events. This girl's pretty cute. Chinese dress, bun hair. Easy way to win me over. I think they're also making another huge figure. This one, Murasame, a 1/3/5 scale from Senran Banka. I would hope the pose is more interesting than this, because otherwise I wouldn't understand why this would need to be a 1/3/5 scale. A new cat girl, Cat Azuki. Look at this creature. Would you even call this a cat at this point? The eyes are 50% of its face. Like, holy shit. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it. Pony Canyon didn't really bring too much, just this one Miku figure, the Delight Fairy style, and then Lemoe figure just brought this again, didn't put it up for pre-order over the past like year or so. So I don't know what to tell you. With that though, we're finally done talking about One Fest. What an event. Very curious how long this video is going to be. At least an hour and a half, but if we crack that 2-hour mark again, not really gonna be surprised. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it. It really helps me out. Leave me a comment about your favorite figures from this event. And if you're on the Patreon, I am going to be making a third video where I talk about One Fest, One Hobby, and the Kotobukiya collection one more time, my final thoughts, and the figures that I'm like 99% sure I'm actually going to be picking up. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.